Hello and welcome to this video where we are going to talk about social engineering. Social engineering is the art of manipulating people to disclose confidential information or perform actions that can be benefit the attacker. In this video, we are going to explore some real life cases of social engineering and how it has impacted some of the biggest companies in the world, including Shark Tank, Toyota, Sony, and much more. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of the types of attacks in social engineering and importance of being vigilant when it comes to protecting. In today's digital age, social engineering attacks have become increasingly common and can have severe consequences for both individuals and organizations. Social engineering is when someone tries to trick or manipulate another person into sharing secret information like passwords or bank details. This is done by taking advantage of the other person's weaknesses and vulnerabilities, such as their trust or naivety. It's like someone pretending to be a friend to get access to your personal information so they can use it for their own gain. It's important to be aware of these tactics and to keep your personal information safe. There are several common human vulnerabilities that social engineering attackers may exploit, that are emotions and feelings. Social engineers may prey on people's emotions, such as fear or excitement, to get them to act in a certain way. For example, a scammer might send a fake email claiming to be from a bank, stating that the person's account has been compromised and urging them to click on a link to fix the issue. This preys on the person's fear of losing their money and their desire to take immediate action to fix the problem. The next one is trust. Social engineers may attempt to build trust with their targets in order to gain access to confidential information. For example, a hacker might call a company's IT department pretending to be a senior executive and ask for sensitive information to be sent to them. By implementing a trusted individual, the social engineer is more likely. The next one is habits. Social engineers may also take advantage of people's habits to gain access to confidential information. For example, they may send a phishing email that appears to be from a legitimate source, such as a bank or social media site, and ask the receptionist to provide their username and password. This takes advantage of the person's habit of entering their login details without questioning the authenticity of the request. So let's talk about how does social engineering works. So the first one is research and reconnaissance. Research and reconnaissance refers to the process of gathering information about a target in order to plan and execute an attack. The attacker will typically try to gather as much information as possible about the target's habits, interests, relationships, and vulnerabilities. This information can be used to create a highly tailored and convincing attack, increasing the likelihood that the target will fall for it. There are many different sources that an attacker can use to gather this information, including social media, public records, and other online resources. For example, an attacker may look at the target's social media profile to gather information about their interests, hobbies, and relationships. They may also search for public records such as property records or court filings to learn more about the target's personal and professional life. By gathering this information, the attacker can create a highly convincing pretext for their attack. Now, let's talk about building trust. One of the primary objectives of social engineering is to gain the trust of the target in order to deceive them into revealing sensitive information and performing an action that would benefit the attacker. In order to build trust with the target, the attacker may use a variety of techniques such as establishing a rapport with them, appearing credible and legitimate, and creating a sense of empathy and sympathy. The attacker may also use pretexting, which involves creating a false identity or pretending to be someone else in order to gain the target's trust. For example, the attacker might pretend to be a customer representative, a technical support person, or a friend of a friend, and use this pretext to gain access to the target's personal information, such as passwords or financial data. So, the next phase is manipulation. One objective of social engineering is to persuade the target to divulge sensitive information or perform an action that would benefit the attacker. To achieve this objective, the attacker may use a variety of psychological manipulation techniques such as authority, urgency, sacrifice, or social proof. Here's how each of these techniques work. Authority. The attacker may impersonate a person in a position of authority, such as a manager, law enforcement officer, or IT specialist. To convince the target to comply with their requests, the target may be more likely to comply with someone who appears to have legitimate authority. Urgency. The attacker may create a sense of urgency to pressure the target into acting quickly. For example, the attacker may claim that the target's account has been compromised and that they must change their password immediately to prevent further damage. Scarcity. The attacker may create a sense of scarcity to make the target feel like they need to act quickly before an opportunity is lost. For example, the attacker may claim that there are only a few spots left for a special offer that a sale will end. Social proof. The attacker may use social proof to make the target believe that other people are already complying with their request. For example, the attacker may claim that many people have already donated to a charity and the target should do so as well to be a part of the group. By using these and other psychological manipulation techniques, the attacker can pursue the target to divulge information or perform an action that will benefit the attacker. And the last one is exploitation. Once the attacker has successfully manipulated the target through social engineering, they can use the information or access gained to launch a cyber attack. There are several ways that an attacker can use the information access gained through social engineering to launch a cyber attack, including stealing credentials. That the attacker may use the information obtained through the social engineering to steal the target's login credentials, such as usernames and passwords. With these credentials, the attacker can gain access to the target's accounts and systems. Installing a malware. The attacker may use the information obtained through social engineering to trick the target into initial installing malware on their device. Once the malware is installed, the attacker can gain remote access to the device and steal sensitive data, or use the device as a part of a botnet. Accessing sensitive data. The attacker may use the information obtained through social engineering to gain access to sensitive data such as customer records or financial information. Once the attacker has this information, they can use it for financial gain or sell it on the dark. So, here are some examples of popular social engineering attacks that are phishing attacks, scareware, spear phishing, baiting, and pretexting. So, let's talk about phishing. It is a method that cyber attackers use to manipulate people into taking actions, or extracting sensitive information. Phishing attackers will typically send out spoof emails, phone calls, or SMS messages that appear to be from a trustworthy
organization, or individual, such as a bank, an online retailer, or a colleague. The message will often contain urgent language and requests for the recipient to provide personal information such as passwords or account numbers. The attacker's goal is to trick the recipient into thinking that the communication is legitimate and to get them to provide the requested information. This can be achieved through a number of different tactics, such as creating fake websites that look like the real, or using social engineering techniques to gain the victim's trust. Once the attacker has obtained the victim's personal information, they can use it for the very variety of malicious purposes, such as stealing money from the bank accounts, taking over social media accounts, or engaging in identity theft. So, the next one is spear phishing. Spear phishing are more focused than traditional phishing attacks. Instead of sending out a large number of generic emails, spear phishers target specific individuals or organizations. They do their research to gather information about their targets, such as their job titles, responsibilities, interests, and contracts. In order to create more convincing and targeted messages, by using this information, the attacker can create an email or other communication that appears to be from a trusted source, such as a colleague, a client, or a vendor. The message may contain personalized information such as the target's name, job title, or recent activities in order to build trust and make the attack seem more legitimate. The goal of a spear phishing attack is usually to obtain sensitive information such as login credentials, financial data, or confidential company information. This information can then be used for various purposes such as stealing money or trade secrets or carrying out further attacks. So, the next one is scareware. A scareware attack is a type of social engineering attack where a cyber attacker uses fear or anxiety to trick a user into taking a specific action, such as downloading or purchasing a fake software product. In a scareware attack, the user may be presented with a pop up window or a warning message on their computer or device, claiming that their system has been infected with a virus or malware. The message may also suggest that the user's personal information is at risk and then they need to take immediate action to protect themselves. The attacker may then prompt the user to click on a link or download a software program, which is actually a fake or malicious program that can cause further harm to their system. In some cases, the attacker may also ask the user for their credit card information to purchase a fake antivirus program, further increasing the risk of financial loss and identity theft. So, the next one is baiting. A baiting attack is a type of social engineering attack where a cyber attacker lures a victim into taking a specific action by offering something of value, such as a free download, a gift card, or a job opportunity. In a baiting attack, the attacker may leave a physical device such as a USB drive in a public place and send a message via email or social media offering the victim a free gift or reward. The device or message may appear legitimate, but it actually contains malware or a virus that can infect the victim's computer or device. When the victim takes the bait and opens the device or message, the malware or virus is downloaded onto their system, giving the attacker access to sensitive information or control over the victim's system. So now let's move to pretexting. Pretexting is a type of social engineering attack where an attacker creates a false or fictional scenario to trick a victim into disclosing sensitive information or performing a specific action. In a pretexting attack, the attacker may pretend to be someone in a position of authority, such as a bank representative or a police officer or an IT support technician. They may then contact the victim via phone, email, or social media and use a persuasive story or pretext to gain the victim's trust and convince them to disclose confidential information such as passwords or account numbers. The attacker may also use information gathered from online sources or social media to make their story more convincing and targeted to the victim's interests or personal circumstances. So, we have seen how many types of social engineering attacks are there. So, let's move to the cases of social engineering attacks. In the cases listed below, you will see examples of how social engineering attack works and how they can be incredibly costly for companies, individuals, and even governments. These cases serve as a warning of real damage that social engineering attacks can cause and the importance of taking measures to protect against them. So let's see the first scam, which is Barbara Corcoran, a judge on the television show Shark Tank, fell victim to a social engineering and phishing scam in 2020. The scammer, posing as a legitimate assistant for Corcoran's bookkeeper, sent an email requesting a payment of nearly 4 lakh US dollars for a property renovation. The email contained details that made it appear to be from a trusted source and included an invoice with a legitimate looking letterhead. Unaware that the email was a scam, Corcon's bookkeeper made the payment. It was later discovered that the email was fraudulent and the scammer had rerouted the payment to their own bank account. Corcon's team was able to recover some of the money, but they were unable to retrieve the full amount. This case highlights the potential damage that social engineering and phishing scams can cause. Even individuals who are experienced in the business world, such as a Shark Tank judge, can fall victim to these type of attacks. It emphasizes the importance of being vigilant and cautious when it comes to unsolicited emails or requests for money, especially when they involve large sums of money or sensitive information. It also shows the need for organizations to have proper security measures in place to prevent and detect these type of scams. The next one is Toyota. Toyota's Okyu Corporation, an auto parts supplier, was targeted by scammers in a social engineering and business email compromise attack in 2019. Attackers used social engineering techniques to trick employees into providing them with login credentials to access the company's financial system. Using these credentials, the attacker was able to impersonate a legitimate vendor and request payments from Toyota. The scam was sophisticated and convincing, and the company ended up wiring USD 37 million to attackers. Unfortunately, it wasn't until after the money has been sent that Toyota discovered the scam. They reported the incident to law enforcement, but the money was already gone and they were unable to recover it. This case illustrates the high cost of social engineering and BEC attacks and how even large companies can fall victim to them. It highlights the importance of employee training and awareness around cyber threats, as well as the need for strong security measures such as two-factor authentication and fraud detection systems to prevent these type of scams from succeeding. The next one is from presidential election 2016. The 2016 United States election is known for being one of the most iconic cases of social engineering. The Democratic Party was targeted in a spear phishing attack, which involves tricking specific individuals into revealing sensitive information or clicking on malicious links. These attacks resulted in the leak of emails and other information from the party's servers. The leaked detail information included private emails from high ranking members of the Democratic Party, which were published by WikiLeaks. The contents of the emails were damaging to the party's image and may have influenced the outcome of the election, which saw Donald Trump defeat Hillary Clinton to become the next prime president of the United States. This case highlights how social engineering attacks can have far reaching and potentially disastrous consequences, even on a national level. It also emphasizes the need for strong cybersecurity measures to protect against such attacks, particularly in the context of high profile events such as elections. The incident led to increased scrutiny of the role of social engineering in cyber attacks and highlighted the importance of cybersecurity awareness and training for both individuals and organizations. And the last one is the Sony Pictures attack. In 2014, Sony Pictures was targeted in a cyber attack that resulted in the theft of thousands of files, including business agreements, financial documents, and employees' personal information. After conducting an investigation, the FBI identified the North Korean government as being responsible for the attack. The attackers used spear phishing techniques to gain access to Sony Pictures network. Thus, they sent fake Apple emails to employees which appeared to be legitimate but actually contained malicious links or attachments. When employees clicked on these links or opened the attachments, the attackers were able to gain access to the company's network and steal sensitive information. The attack on Sony Pictures is a clear example of how social engineering can be used to carry out cyber attacks. The attackers relied on employees' trust and in the Apple brand and used this to trick them into unwittingly compromising the company's security. This case highlights the importance of cybersecurity training and awareness for employees, as well as the need for strong security measures such as two factor authentication and regular network monitoring to prevent such attacks from succeeding.